Okay, this video is going to take you through the tracing of code, all the steps. Feel free, of course, to fast forward or whatever you need if you need to go somewhere else in the video. So this is just dealing with problem A on the Chapter 5 review assignment. We're going to trace code from the beginning to accommodate people that are trying to do the numbering first, and then before they actually trace the code. So as we look at the numbering situation, what we want to do first is we want to highlight the method headers. Now the best way to remember the method header is if we've said the main method header ever since chapter 1, and it starts with public static, and so those are going to be your headers, your method declarations. So these lines declare the methods, and the names are of course right before the parentheses. So you have new total, main, and mystery num are the method headers, or the methods for this program. And then we want to do a different color with the method calls. So where is method calls? You just look, you take new total, and you find that right here, new total, and the parentheses, and so there's your method call. And then you should have a method call for mystery num, and you could have more than a method could be called more than once in a program as well, just to keep in mind. But mystery num, and then the parentheses, so that's a variable, or a method call as well. And then we want to label the end of methods. So we are going to go end of method here, and we're going to go here, end of method, and we're going to go here. Alright, so you have these three places, end of methods, because these are landmarks, and where students sometimes have a hard time knowing what to do from there. Alright, so as we start this, we always, of course, start at the main method. It doesn't matter which method comes first in the list. It's main, always starts with the main method. So we're going to start with there with 1, and then you just work your way down. Now you work your way down until you get to a landmark. So the landmarks are easy to see. They're the highlighted and the EOMs. That's all there is to it. So you go down to here, you go to 5. These are the places where you got to make decisions now. So now I've reached a landmark, method call. The saying is from method call to method header. And so we're looking for new total method, which is not here, but it's up here. And so there's the new total method, and so that's going to be 6. And then you just work yourself down until you get to the next landmark, which happens to be the end of the method. Okay, so the saying is end of method, return to method call. So we go to the new total method call, which is right here, and we can put the next number down. Now we go back to the method call. Sometimes there will be something that the compiler will do on that line, and other times there will be nothing else for it to do. But in this case there will be something, as we'll see later on. And then we just work ourselves down until the next landmark, which is of course this method call because of the highlight. And so we're going to it's going to implement the mystery num method, which is down here. So it goes down to 13 here, and then you work your number down or go into the next line down until you get to the next landmark. The next landmark is going to be the end of the method. So end of method, return to method call. And so we then go back. Now one thing that some people might like to do is draw arrows, which is sometimes helpful. And so 17 is going to be 18 right here. So we could have done a end of method, return to method call here. So sometimes the arrows can be helpful. Sometimes people might think, well, it's too much and it makes it harder to read. But anyways, so here we are, we're 18, and then we're going to go down to 19, and then we are at the last landmark, which is the end of method, but it's the end of the main method. This is the body of the main method, so it's the end of main, end of program. Alright, so that's your numbering. Now once you've done your numbering, now you can begin to go through and trace your code and start writing the output, tracking the memory locations. So we start at 1, nothing to do here. We have num1, and this is one way you can keep track of your memory locations. The best place is probably out here to the side. I'm just going to do it here really quick. So num1, the return value of this variable call is 8. The return value of num2 is 3. And you add them together and you get 11. So now that's the total of total. That's the value, I'm sorry, of total. Alright, the next line here is you have the total is going to be updated with the return value of the new total method. And so the method call, or the return value of the new total method call. And so inside the parentheses, of course, is what we call arguments. Arguments are going to be passed to the method header. And so these variables in here are variable calls. And so the return value of total is 11. The return value of num1 is 8. And the return value of num2 is 3. So these arguments are now going to be passed to the new total method, to what we call the parameter variables. So the parameter variables, of course, are the words that are after the data types. So T is going to store the 11 because it's the first parameter variable and it's matched with the first argument. And so 8 is going to be stored in N1, and then 3 in N2. Alright, so in here we then now the 11, the 8, and 3 are now accessible by the new total method. Down here they were not accessible. They were out of scope. They were in a different method, and so the new total method did not have access to these variables. Alright, so then here T is 11, N1 is 8, N2 is 3, and so you multiply first, which is 8 times 3, which is 24, plus 11 is 35. Alright, so the new total is, the value of that is 35, so 35 is assigned to new total. Now you have a return statement, and the return statement it does what it says it's going to do. It's going to return 35. It's going to return the return value of new tot, which is 35. So it's going to return 35 to the method call. And so we bring this down here and we're going to write it right above the name of the method in the method call. So 35 is going to be written here. Alright, this is the return value of the method. These are the return values of the variables or the arguments. And so the 35, now if you read this statement, it says total or is assigned 35. That makes it easy, because now you go, okay, well, I'm going to store 35 in this memory location. And variables store data to be used later in the program. In fact, it will be used in the next line. So in the next line, then it's going to print updated total colon space, and then the return value of total, of course, is 35, which was gotten in the new total method, but it was passed through a return statement so the main method could use it. And so this would be the first thing that should be in the output. And I'm not going to take the time to write that all because that's going to take too long. So updated total is 35. That's what you would write. Alright, the next line is number 12 here is now the method call mystery num total. So total is the return value is 35. It's not the 11 because it's been updated to 35. And so this is going to be passed now to the mystery num parameter variable. And so as we go down to line 13 here, then tot is 35. Alright, and then now that 35 can be used in the mystery num method because of the passing of it to the mystery num method through a method call. And so 35 times 3 is 105. So the value of prod is 105. The tot is called again. 35 plus 3 is 38. And so then we take the return value of prod, which is 105, and subtract the return value of sum, which is 38, and that gives us 67, which is now the value of new num. And then the mystery num method is going to display the output, and so it's going to say the mystery number is, and then the return value of new num is 67. So it's going to say the mystery number is 67, and then a period. Alright, so that's what that will say. And then we go then back up to here, nothing to do here, and then we go to line 19, which is the last line of the main method, so it's the end of the program, and that prints what fun. And so that is going to be the finish of tracing this code. This is how you can do this.